So as mentioned in the video, and it's on the brochure as well, the education program that you can have if you bring your students to the park is $2 per student. That gets you 2 education programs. Each program lasts for 1 hour. All these programs do meet South Carolina state standards. If you can look in the binder as well, I've just tabbed out one of the science standards, or I'm sorry, one of the science classes that we offer and all the standards that we meet. All this information is on our up-to-date website. The standards that we meet for every history, sustainability series, and for every environmental education class. So you can look and see what standards that we meet. So those $2 get you 2 programs. Each program lasts for 1 hour. You can do 2 environmental, 2 history. The most popular is 1 of each. And you can bring in a large group and you can cycle through as to, one group's in the history program, 1 group's in the nature program, 1 group is at lunch. There's teacher-led activities that you can do. There's history theater, a nature theater, 4 miles of boardwalk, so the live animal exhibit. So there's all these different things that you can do as you rotate a large group through. All right. So that's, I don't know what they offer. All right. The next one, it'd be great if Old Santee Canal Park can bring field trips to schools, and we can do that. If you look at the giant South Carolina map in the middle, at the bottom there, I think everyone here is in Berkeley County. We go anywhere in the state. I've been up to Rock Hill, Columbia, Hilton Head, Myrtle Beach, but we can go anywhere in the state. Everyone here is in Berkeley County. The great thing about that is that we don't impose a travel fee if we stay within Berkeley County. So we can come to your program, or we can do a program at your school. $2 gets you 1 program at your school. Okay, so $2 gets you that 1 hour program. Again, we can cycle through. If I teach the same reptile program or whatever, it's not the number of classes that I teach, but the number of programs, different programs that I teach. So again, we can rotate through that way as well. And so if you're in Berkeley County, it's free, and then I've zoned it out to kind of recoup some of the travel fees. So we can bring programs to your park or to the school. It's not an it is kind of an abbreviated program, but if you come to the park and you do the reptile program, I'm going to get a snake out. If I come to your school, I'm not just going to tell you about snakes. I'm still going to bring a snake. So I bring a lot of the things at the park and then just here in your school setting. So it's not a compromised program for the most part. Anyone recognize this school? I think I'm parked somewhere over here. All right. All right. The next thing is provide information on how sustainability is cross-curricular. Again, this is the kind of the expansion of the educational program. We've always offered these environmental education programs. We've always offered these history programs, and these are great programs to offer. But again, kind of what I'm passionate about and kind of what I'm interested in is this concepts of sustainability and offering them to your students, kind of introduce these ideas. Again, I understand that I have your students for an hour. I'm not going to teach them all about, everything about sustainability, but kind of work with you guys and kind of just introduce these concepts to you. So you can look at the sustainability series of programs there, and those are some of the classes that we offer. Again, from the survey, teachers are at least interested in them. What's also interesting is that in the binder there, I've included, it's not within the binder, it's separate from it, but it's inside the binder there, the standards that we meet in math, social studies, and science. So while a lot of these sustainability programs come from a science perspective, we also incorporate the math and social studies standards. And I understand that a lot of this is heavy on the elementary side. That is our biggest audience per se, but we do meet some of your the middle school standards as well, and we can also one of the things when you book a program with us is I ask you, well, what are you teaching in your class? What do you want me to really drive home on and make the connection between what you're teaching and what I can teach you? And so those standards there, we can talk together, collaborate before the program. We can talk about what standards that I don't advertise that we meet, but we can still meet. So you can look at those standards. They're also available on the website as well. The website here is blocked, so I can't show you, unless anyone knows the login, but we'll worry about that later. But But so we meet math, social studies, and science standards from these educational programs. And when I'm done talking up here, some of the activities that we do, I can highlight how we can incorporate social studies into an animals class, things like that. Okay. Also in the binder, the last thing are EFS standards. And I know the last thing that you guys want to hear about are more standards that you have to meet. And these are just suggestive standards. These are things that you can do to help integrate sustainability into your classroom. So the last thing in the binder are EFS standards. And these aren't just some made-up standards that I created. This is a national board of educators that really created these standards to help teachers integrate that into their class. So those are different aspects of how we can incorporate it and how sustainability can be cross-curricular. I know there was a math teacher in here somewhere. You can work together with a science teacher or social studies teacher and really get a lot out of the 1-hour program. All right. So real quick, we're almost done. The 3 E's is kind of the cornerstone of when you educate for sustainability. Does anyone know what the 3 E's are or any guesses? When you want to teach about the 3 E's, I'll give you a hint. There are 3 words that start with the letter E. Environment. Exploring. You got the first one. Eggplant. We'll categorize that as environment. Environment.
Oh, that's good.
Equity. And economy. When you want to create these a sustainable, or when you're educating for sustainability, these are the 3 E's that you really want to drive home on. And this is what I offer. When you offer a sustainability series program, I keep these 3 E's in mind, okay? Obviously, the environment, I'm an environmental educator. I studied science. I teach all the science programs at the park. Environment is pretty easy to tackle, all right? If you look at the sustainability series, a lot of the a lot of the classes come from a science perspective. But if you look at equity, and we can talk about race, gender, things like that. But really, equity, when you're teaching it to students, a great way to teach about that is talk about fairness or equal representation even within the environment. So you talk about the 150-acre swamp that I have at the park. If that was nothing but alligators, how healthy of a swamp would that be? So you could talk about, well, every little animal that's at that swamp does a certain thing. And then when you piece them all together, you have a healthy environment, a healthy ecosystem. And so, and then later, maybe one of those out of school activities that the teacher was quoted as saying, maybe I could come in and teach about, well, the equity of a swamp. Talk about the different animals and the jobs that they have. And then, maybe later on with your social studies teacher or whatever, you could talk about, well, you can make that comparison between equity in a community, the roles that an alligator does versus the role that a banker does in your community, and talk about how everyone there has their own job and really makes the community healthy. So when you hear equity, you can think, you don't have to think so, so heavy and deep about that. You can keep it simple for the students and talk about that. Economy, again, I'm not going to talk about the Wall Street guys or anything like that. You can talk about putting what you put into a system and then what you get out of it. All right. So what you get or what you give and then what you get in return. Okay. A great example of economy is like a blue whale, the largest animal to ever roam the earth. Okay. You would think that the largest animal to ever roam the earth would eat something really, really big, right? But yeah, it doesn't, because the economics aren't there. A blue whale, it's a massive body, takes a whole lot of energy to move, right? So it would not be economically wise for that blue whale to spend all that energy just to eat something big, and then wouldn't get as much back, and it wouldn't be, and then the whale would constantly be eating because it's spending as much energy as it's getting down, chasing down a great white or something like that. Instead, the blue whales figured out, I don't have to move my large body as much if I eat a whole bunch of small things that I don't have to chase down. So that's, again, one of those economics things where The blue well doesn't spend as much energy, but can get energy back in return. So again, you don't have to talk about Wall Street or anything like that. You can keep it simple and talk about a blue whale. All right. So just go through real quick and look at the Sustainability Series programs that we offer. And I'm not going to go over the descriptions. They're all in there, and they're all well written. One thing that I do want to highlight is that there are park-led classes, and that is what I'm, the programs that I can bring into your school. Also, there's teacher collaborations, which means that I can come and work with you to piece together what I bring into your school. Or if you're just interested, say, Brad, I really want to add this equity piece to this standard or to this unit. How can you help me? And I can work with you on that as well. So there's park-led classes, which are all listed there, and then there's teacher collaborations. The teacher collaborations, the only thing that applies to that as far as fees is the travel fee. So since everyone's Berkeley County, basically I can do it for free. But that is one of the aspects of the Sustainability Series. And then here we've got two of my summer campers as well. Here looking for critters in the swamp. We're virtually everywhere. Get it? We have a website, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. The educational video that you saw is on YouTube. Again, since YouTube's blocked at most schools, I've created that DVD. But if you want to go home and watch it, it's there on YouTube. Oh, TeacherTube.
Yeah, we get that in the schools.
Okay, let me write that down. Talk to me about TeacherTube after this program. How do you upload a TeacherTube?
Same way you do YouTube.
Is it a website?
Correct.
Huh.
But it allows teachers access to the content. I'm not sure who scrolls through the programs that are put into it.
Right.
The technology department, I think.
Yeah, they allow me.
Is that a Berkeley County thing? Wonderful. Oh, wonderful. That's a great resource. All right. But that's the end of that. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to the fun, exciting things about getting out and some of the programs that, activities that I can do at your school? Does anyone have any questions about what we offer? Does anyone need to get up and walk around for a minute or two, take a bathroom break? Okay. I've got 11:02. We'll start at 11:07. We'll start and again with doing some of these activities, and I won't give you any more PowerPoint.